Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of DAW playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a third headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit, 192 kHz ADDA to capture every last detail in your creations. Before connecting your new interface, first set up or log into your account to register your SSL 12 at store.solidstatelogic.com/my-account. Once registered, you'll also then be able to access the included SSL production pack. You'll need to download the SSL 360 application on your computer, as this enables access to the SSL 12 software mixer, allowing control of all the parameters beyond the hardware interface. When downloaded, follow the installation process, then when installed, open the 360 application. Now it's time to connect and switch on your SSL 12. First, attach your new SSL 12 to your computer via the provided C-type USB cable. If your system uses the older USB A-type socket, we've included a handy adapter in the box. Once plugged in, switch on the interface via the power button on the rear of the unit next to the USB socket, and then the 12 should spring into life with a green LED to indicate a positive connection to the host computer. If using a Mac, the 12 interface is class compliant and no drivers are needed, so in the Preferences panel, simply set the input and output device as the SSL 12. On a Windows system, the latest USB ASIO/WDM drivers are required to set up your SSL 12 as your primary audio device. These can be updated and installed via 360, which we'll look at now. Back in 360, the SSL 12 should now be available on the home screen. If any updates are required, such as a firmware update, or on a Windows machine and the USB ASIO WDM drivers require updating, then these will appear in the home screen, with the firmware underneath the interface avatar and the USB drivers below the 360 logo. Simply double-click on the green button to initiate the download and automatically install the updates. You can also find the Windows drivers in the download section of the SSL website, as well as a 360 installer and USB audio driver installer for Windows. Now we've got the SSL 12 set up, let's quickly look at setting up some preferences if working on a Windows system before we look at the DAW. Let's first make sure the SSL 12 is set up as your primary audio device. Then let's go to the Sound tab via the Control panel and select Monitor left and right as the primary outputs. Once selected, click Configure to open the Properties panel, where we're going to disable all audio enhancements to ensure the SSL 12 operates as expected across all audio applications. Next, let's look at setting these up with your DAW. You can of course use any DAW that supports core audio on a Mac or ASIO/WDM on a Windows system. But no matter which DAW you are using, you need to ensure that the SSL 12 is selected as your audio device in the Audio Preferences/Playback settings. Let's look at now setting this up in Pro Tools. First go to Setup, then Playback Engine, and then select SSL 12 from the drop-down menu. Similarly, in Live, head to the Preferences tab, then select the correct driver type, which in this case for Mac is Core Audio. Then select the SSL 12 for both the audio input and output devices. After this, in the channel configuration, highlight all the mono and stereo channels you wish to use for both inputs and outputs to allow them to be selectable from the channel path. In the next video, we'll look at the 360 app and the integration with the SSL 12 mixer tab, as well as looking at a few examples of routing different scenarios.
Good evening and welcome to the Sound and Light Fair here in Accra, Ghana, the Digital Center. I just want to welcome you to the Audiovisual System booth where we will be speaking to the head of Audiovisual System, and we will be looking critically at the SSL L350 Live Console, the first in Ghana, arguably the first in West Africa. And we all know how world-renowned the SSL console is. I mean, when you think about the greatest albums in the world, from Tupac to, everyone, almost all studios have a component of SSL, and that should tell you how critical or how well-renowned the brand is. So we will be going over a few things from channel processing to inputs to outputs to how to what comes with the SSL console and what makes it very unique. Just imagine carrying the studio to a live setting, and that is what we have here. Also, we will be looking at why Audiovisual System actually decided to bring this wonderful board here to Ghana. They'll be telling us their vision. They'll be telling us everything we need to know about the console. When I first heard the console was in Accra, Ghana, I couldn't believe it because of how we all know getting these equipment here in Ghana is. And a very big shout out to the team in England, the SSL team in England. Very wonderful job partnering with Audiovisual System and ensuring that we get the first L350 here in Ghana. It's wonderful. So we will be getting into it very soon. So stay tuned.
Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of DAW playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a 3rd headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit 192 kHz ADDA to capture.
So welcome back to this live stream of Audiovisual Systems here at the Sound and Light Fair. So I just want to introduce you to the man or the brain behind Audiovisual Systems. He's been in the industry for well over 15 years with a lot of experience handling very wonderful projects here in Ghana and in Africa. Let me put it that way. So we have no other person than Caleb Ashon Katai. So welcome,
Thanks.
Caleb.
Thanks, NML. Good to have you here again.
Thank you.
It's been a while, and we're happy you are celebrating here with us.
Yeah.
Such a great time for Audiovisual Systems here in Ghana. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so I mean, moving straight into action, I just want you to talk briefly about the vision of Audiovisual System here in Ghana, because ever since I got to know Audiovisual System, I know you guys have set a certain standard when it comes to quality and when it comes to ensuring that we move beyond what we know in terms of the space when it comes to the sound industry or the audio industry. So you can talk to us about that.
So I'm big on audio. Yeah, I can go all out for audio because I know what good audio does to the human being actually. So there was this vision of doing sound in a very big space. And I realized after years of doing it, I realized that no, we need to take it next level, because usually when I go for events, I tend to maybe tune the PA for them before I run the event. I tend to maybe change angles, like do things that an integrator should have done to suit what I was looking for. So I realized that no, you know something, we need to look into having some good integration on projects so that the engineer just walks inside as a mix engineer. So that's where I came from, and we started with sales of speakers. At the time we were selling the Mac Audio speakers. We still sell them, and we decided that you know something, this is all what we're going to sell. And our clients were so happy with the product, and they used to ask us, "Don't we have anything? Don't we have microphone?
I can really imagine.
Don't we have cables? Don't we have this? Like, don't you have keyboards?" That we were like, you know something, the whole idea of this is for us to sell speakers, and we just saw that no, you know something, we need to really look at it, and that's where Audiovisual Systems came actually.
Wow.
So it came from the need of the market. The market needed something outside the box. So we decided that you know something, as reliable as our Mag Audio is, we want every other thing to be reliable. So we decided that you know something, we are going to partner with other brands, and we're so fortunate to have some of the best brands in the world to partner with. Yes, and currently we are in partnership with Radio Engineering, Attack Drum Heads, Solid State Logic. That one hands down. Yeah.
Yes.
Then we also have Attack Drum Heads. We have Los Cabos sticks. We have Schneider. We also have Sontronics, from the UK as well. Amphenol, we have Koenig and Meyer stands as well. So these are some of the things that we brought and to kind of give us that solution to our client. And we saw that you know something, we don't just have to look into the sound aspect, we desire to look into the video and the light aspect. So currently we have some few projects in town that we've done some LEDs here and we've done some light integrations. But we are big on audio because I've been in it from the time I was young, and I'm still young. So still into audio. So my biggest part is audio, and it has reflected in the company. We've been big on audio, and we desire to be the market leader when it comes to audio integration here in Ghana and beyond. So that's a little bit about Audiovisual Systems, and
So I mean, like you mentioned, gradually, when you look at the industry in terms of audio, a lot of people are now demanding quality, and because of that, there's need for equipment that can match that kind of quality. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's what's being translated to the audience that is what the audience actually do prefer,
Yeah.
and we want to move away from what we knew before,
Yeah.
in terms of the audio equipment. So this brings me back to my second question, with relation to why SSL.
Okay, when it comes to when it comes to consoles, the reason why we partnered with SSL is number one, like I said, we want to go all out.
Mm,
I have a slogan that goes like this: "Life is too short for bad sound."
I
So
agree with you
the whole
perfectly.
the whole idea of that slogan is you're not going to live any other life. If this is what you're going to do, do it all out, and that's it. So I decided that something, we're going to go into this partnership not just for business sake, but we will also want to bring some impact into the industry.
Okay. Okay.
So we are taking SSL as our partner because they have the best quality sound when
Mm,
it comes to audio.
yes. Mm,
Yeah, all things being equal, they have the best sound. And SSL has been big on broadcast and studio.
okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
every
Okay.
major song you hear out there has a little bit of an SSL in it.
Yeah.
If it's not the
Yeah.
plugin, it's the console itself. If it's not the console,
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
processor and the
Yes.
stuff. So
Mm,
we decided, now, no, something. Let's get it all out. And
mm,
we started with their creation stuff, the audio production
okay.
gear. So we have
Okay.
the solid state logic audio interfaces. We have the Fusion Bass
Great.
Plus,
Great.
UF8, UC.
Great.
Like we have all
Great.
those ranges, and we
Mm,
decided, I know something. When it comes to live sound, we need to bring SSL on.
mm,
Yeah, we need to bring
mm,
SSL because I
mm.
think there's been a big gap. When we have
Okay.
a lot of, when you have a concert with channels more than 64, you probably will see like two consoles set in front
Yes.
of house,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is not bad, but we feel that if you have everything holistic,
Mm.
it would probably save you a lot of trouble
Time.
because you're not going to now take from the
Yes.
console
Yes.
insert
Yeah.
into the input of the other one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it will
True.
save, and also the sound quality.
Mm,
Yeah, the sound
mm.
quality. I hadn't heard of it before in terms of the sound quality.
Okay.
But as an audio engineer, I grew up to understand what specifications mean. So
Okay.
at reach a point, if I read a specification, I probably could tell what the
What
specification
they were
could
looking for.
translate.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we took
Yes.
that. It's been one of our biggest risks,
Okay.
and we've never said we regret it
Mm.
because it's served like it's what they said is actually
Okay.
more than what they said. So,
Mm.
yeah. So our friends at SSL were so surprised. We're like, "Have you heard it before? Have you used it before?" We're like, "No, we've used Salsa." So Salsa is an offline editor.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've been
Okay.
using Salsa
Okay.
for like a while,
Wow.
and
Mm.
it doesn't process audio. I just
Okay.
used to learn how to route my way
Routes.
around. Yeah.
Yes.
So I've
Yes.
been in Salsa
Yes.
and stuff,
Yes.
and yeah, got a little bit of certification from SSL
Okay.
as well, and we decided that something. Let's get a console now. Let's get a console,
That's a
and
bold one.
we brought it,
Very
and
bold one.
I think it's the sound quality is, huh, you don't do too much and you get what you want. I'm not
Yes.
saying don't
Mm.
too much like it makes you lazy, but when you put a mic in front of the preamp and you
Mm.
open the gain and you just raise the fader, boom, you
It
hear
hits you.
too much detail that you
Mm.
didn't used to hear initially. Yeah.
Mm.
So we realized that the secret is their preamp. Their preamp
Mm.
circuit
Mm.
as one
Okay.
of the
Okay.
top
Okay.
circuit
Okay.
there is, if not the top. Yeah,
Mm.
it has very good preamps, and having that on live sound is
Okay.
not common.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
common. So
Yes.
I think
Especially
it's
in the
going to.
live setting.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we also look at changing the face of live audio production.
Okay.
Yeah, we want it to be like let me say broadcast mix mastered ready. Yeah, out of the box, and this helps us to get there so fast.
Not to cut you short, but I mean, when I came this morning and I was listening to the session yesterday,
Okay.
I was telling you it's mind blowing knowing that this is coming straight from the console,
Mm.
not processed via through a broadcast console or anything. It is straight from the console, and it's mind blowing that you can achieve such quality with the SSL. Um, I mean, like you rightly mentioned, we want to be able to translate the studio to the live setting,
Yeah.
and that is what SSL is giving us
Mm.
now. And also we want to also change the face of live
Yeah.
sound engineering in Ghana.
Yeah.
And once we are supposed to do that, we have to be trendsetters,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you rightly mentioned, if we are going in for the best, we definitely have to go for
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
Just to ask, I know you are packing the L350 now, but can you talk more about
The range.
the range of
All right.
SSL products?
All right. So the range is not just the L350. L350 is like L350 has the good things or everything small in it. So we have the L100, which is the smallest
Okay.
in the range.
Okay.
That's 96
Okay.
channels input. We
Mm.
have the L200, which is 144 input channels.
Mm.
That's after the 100.
Okay.
Then we also have the L350 that comes
Okay.
after the 200,
Okay.
which is 216.
Mm.
Then we go next to the L450.
The
So
L450.
450, 650, and 200, they look similar. The
Okay.
difference is the processing.
The processing.
And the
Okay.
650, not 600, the 650 has a master tile, which when we get into the
Okay.
console, we'll talk
Okay.
about. So the
All
master
right.
tile is what the 650 has.
Okay.
550 also has master tile, which is after the 450
After the
before the
450.
650.
Okay.
So it's 6 consoles in a
In
range.
one.
Yeah, the
Wow.
sound quality is exactly the same. It's like they're exactly the
Mm.
same sound
I
quality.
mean,
The difference is the scale.
you mentioned about the fact that this has been done in a way where you are looking at longevity,
Yeah.
keeping the same kind of
Yeah, yeah.
sound for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, typically when you pick a console, a regular,
Yeah.
by the next 2, 3, 4 years, there's another one that's replacing that,
And you feel that
and you
you didn't
feel
do a
that
good
you did
investment, and
exactly,
that.
exactly.
So one thing about SSL is they have a long-standing heritage
Okay.
when it comes to keeping things. So
Mm.
when they design something, they expect it to
Okay.
last. And
Okay.
the technology for this, we have about 4 decades more to go with this technology. That's 40 years more to
Wow.
go with this technology.
Wow.
And you may never know. Before that time, we could even come up with
Something else.
like mind-boggling.
Mm.
40 years means that you don't have troubles for
Okay.
this period. And
Okay.
this is someone's career.
Okay.
That 40 years, it's
Okay.
good enough. As a mix engineer, if you have a consistent console that can give you sound, the same sound,
Okay.
for the next 40,
40
years,
years.
it's big.
Yes.
It's big. It's
Very
huge.
huge.
You
Very
don't
huge.
you don't need to well, as a mix engineer, I learn every console.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've come to find that you need to sometimes sign a signature.
Yes.
So in signing a
Yes.
signature, you need to, if you can possibly own one, you own one so that you can have a very good
Yes. Everybody.
signature.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's the same
knows
pen you
you
are
for
using to
that.
sign a signature.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
it
Yes.
makes it easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
With the technology, I'm very confident that well, this is not the last thing that will do, but
Yeah. True.
yeah,
True.
would have some good time in the years to come.
Yes, yes. So I just wanted you to talk about the fact that this is here,
Yeah.
right? And this is a long-standing partnership with, or should I say, relationship with SSL. When you look at it from the perspective of business, for most of these consoles will be used in churches, or for live concerts, or for even cathedrals that have been built new. Um, what is the selling? Why should anybody consider getting this?
Number one, sound. That's that's non-negotiable. Sound is SSL is big on sound.
Okay.
Number two is the most surprising thing. It's the flexibility and the
Okay.
ease of use.
Wow.
Yeah, I've not seen anything that can be easy to use and still be sophisticated in output.
Okay.
When I say sophisticated, when you listen to the output, you expect it to have a lot of bells and whistles,
Okay.
use somersaults, all those things. No, this is very straightforward.
Okay.
I tell people once you can use an iPad, a touch screen, you probably can use this
Use
console.
The console.
Just give me 10 minutes of your attention, 20 minutes of your attention.
You're
I
done.
can take you through the most essential things. You need to run a show.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So today
Wow.
one team came here today, and they threw a challenge that, okay, how long can we get sound to come in and out of the console? So we timed ourselves, and whilst we're talking, we're timing. We finished about...
Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of DAW playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a 3rd headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit, 192 kHz ADDA to capture every last detail in your creations. Before connecting your new interface, first set up or log into your account to register your SSL 12 at store.solidstatelogic.com/my-account. Once registered, you'll also then be able to access the included SSL production pack. You'll need to download the SSL 360 application on your computer, as this enables access to the SSL 12 software mixer, allowing control of all the parameters beyond the hardware interface. When downloaded, follow the installation process, then when installed, open the 360 application. Now it's time to connect and switch on your SSL 12. First, attach your new SSL 12 to your computer via the provided C-type USB cable. If your system uses the older USB A-type socket, we've included a handy adapter in the box. Once plugged in, switch on the interface via the power button on the rear of the unit next to the USB socket, and then the 12 should spring into life with a green LED to indicate a positive connection to the host computer. If using a Mac, the 12 interface is class compliant and no drivers are needed, so in the Preferences panel, simply set the input and output device as the SSL 12. On a Windows system, the latest USB ASIO/WDM drivers are required to set up your SSL 12 as your primary audio device. These can be updated and installed via 360, which we'll look at now. Back in 360, the SSL 12 should now be available on the home screen. If any updates are required, such as a firmware update, or on a Windows machine and the USB ASIO WDM drivers require updating, then these will appear in the home screen, with the firmware underneath the interface avatar and the USB drivers below the 360 logo. Simply double-click on the green button to initiate the download and automatically install the updates. You can also find the Windows drivers in the download section of the SSL website, as well as a 360 installer and USB audio driver installer for Windows. Now we've got the SSL 12 set up, let's quickly look at setting up some preferences if working on a Windows system before we look at the DAW. Let's first make sure the SSL 12 is set up as your primary audio device. Then let's go to the Sound tab via the control panel and select Monitor left and right as the primary outputs. Once selected, click Configure to open the Properties panel, where we're going to disable all audio enhancements to ensure the SSL 12 operates as expected across all audio applications. Next, let's look at setting these up with your DAW. You can of course use any DAW that supports core audio on a Mac or ASIO/WDM on a Windows system. But no matter which DAW you are using, you need to ensure that the SSL 12 is selected as your audio device in the Audio Preferences/Playback settings. Let's look at now setting this up in Pro Tools. First go to Setup, then Playback Engine, and then select SSL 12 from the drop-down menu. Similarly, in Live, head to the Preferences tab, then select the correct driver type, which in this case for Mac is Core Audio. Then select the SSL 12 for both the audio input and output devices. After this, in the channel configuration, highlight all the mono and stereo channels you wish to use for both inputs and outputs to allow them to be selectable from the channel path. In the next video, we'll look at the 360 app and the integration with the SSL 12 mixer tab, as well as looking at a few examples of routing different scenarios.
Solo is a handheld dynamic microphone, designed, developed and hand-built here in the UK. The precision CNC engineered body is hard anodized to military specifications, which means the finish will never tarnish or corrode or rub away during the lifetime of the mic itself. Furthermore, the logo and lettering are laser etched into the body and can never be rubbed off or scratched away. Solo has incredible sound qualities, great clarity, punch, presence, body, everything that you need from a handheld dynamic microphone. It has a supercardioid pickup pattern, which means it focuses very much at the front of the microphone directly towards the artist themselves, and the side rejection is exceptional. So therefore you can be using this microphone on a stage close to monitors and the feedback rejection is absolutely superb. During the research and development for Solo, we discussed a lot with live sound engineers and asked them about the difficulties they faced and trials they faced when using standard dynamic microphones. And the most common theme was that dynamic mics are low output, low sensitivity and required lots of gain. And also the signal response and frequency response was usually a little muffled and required a lot of EQ to actually shape the signal to what they wanted it to be. This gave us the drive to develop a handheld dynamic microphone that overcame all of those problems. And in Solo you have a microphone which has a very high output level, requiring only a little amount of gain to get an incredible signal. And furthermore, the frequency response of Solo requires little or no EQ to give you an accurate reproduction without any processing. Included with Solo is a microphone clip to attach it to a mic stand, and also a padded zip-up pouch should you wish to take the microphone away with you. Solo, as with all of our other microphones, is covered by our lifetime warranty.
Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of DAW playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features, like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a 3rd headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit, 192 kHz ADDA to capture every last detail in your creations. Before connecting your new interface, First set up or log into your account to register your SSL 12 at store.solidstatelogic.com/my-account. Once registered, you'll also then be able to access the included SSL production pack. You'll need to download the SSL 360 application on your computer, as this enables access to the SSL 12 software mixer, allowing control of all the parameters beyond the hardware interface. When downloaded, follow the installation process, then when installed, open the 360 application. Now it's time to connect and switch on your SSL 12. First, attach your new SSL 12 to your computer via the provided C-type USB cable. If your system uses the older USB A-type socket, we've included a handy adapter in the box. Once plugged in, switch on the interface via the power button on the rear of the unit next to the USB socket, and then the 12 should spring into life with a green LED to indicate a positive connection to the host computer. If using a Mac, the 12 interface is class compliant and no drivers are needed, so in the Preferences panel, simply set the input and output device as the SSL 12. On a Windows system, the latest USB ASIO/WDM drivers are required to set up your SSL 12 as your primary audio device. These can be updated and installed via 360, which we'll look at now. Back in 360, the SSL 12 should now be available on the home screen. If any updates are required, such as a firmware update, or on a Windows machine and the USB ASIO WDM drivers require updating, then these will appear in the home screen, with the firmware underneath the interface avatar and the USB drivers below the 360 logo. Simply double-click on the green button to initiate the download and automatically install the updates. You can also find the Windows drivers in the download section of the SSL website, as well as a 360 installer and USB audio driver installer for Windows. Now we've got the SSL 12 set up, let's quickly look at setting up some preferences if working on a Windows system before we look at the DAW. Let's first make sure the SSL 12 is set up as your primary audio device. Then let's go to the Sound tab via the control panel and select Monitor left and right as the primary outputs. Once selected, click Configure to open the Properties panel, where we're going to disable all audio enhancements to ensure the SSL 12 operates as expected across all audio applications. Next, let's look at setting these up with your DAW. You can of course use any DAW that supports core audio on a Mac or ASIO/WDM on a Windows system. But no matter which DAW you are using, you need to ensure that the SSL 12 is selected as your audio device in the Audio Preferences/Playback settings. Let's look at now setting this up in Pro Tools. First go to Setup, then Playback Engine, and then select SSL 12 from the drop-down menu. Similarly, in Live, head to the Preferences tab, then select the correct driver type, which in this case for Mac is Core Audio. Then select the SSL 12 for both the audio input and output devices. After this, in the channel configuration, highlight all the mono and stereo channels you wish to use for both inputs and outputs to allow them to be selectable from the channel path. In the next video, we'll look at the 360 app and the integration with the SSL 12 Mixer tab, as well as looking at a few examples of routing different scenarios.
Like we were mentioning, we were exploring the reasons why this console will be ideal for churches, for live sound.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been the bane of a lot of concerts that you are not able to set up on time. We don't have ready access to venues.
Yeah.
So your setup time is between like 3 to 4 or 5 hours, and you need to
Yeah.
set up everything,
Yeah.
considering lights, sound, video, and even the crew sound check. What's the problem? So, in that case, why should any church be getting this, or why should any, should I say, audio company be gearing towards having an SSL live console?
So number one, like I was saying before we went on a break, I was saying that it's about sound. Number one. Number two, it's the scalability. All the consoles, 6 consoles,
Okay.
use the same show file,
Okay.
and you can use L100 on L650 show
650.
file, and it will work.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
if it's a rental house, it's even more of an advantage.
That even makes it much more interesting, considering now we have a lot of artists from beyond Ghana coming, and
Yeah.
their riders typically will contain either having
Well,
an
and other
SS,
things, yeah.
yes. So I mean, it's like you rightly pointed out, having the flexibility of working on an SL100 or 100,
Yeah.
and being able to carry that same show file into an,
makes total
yes.
sense.
So
yeah.
yes,
And
you can
the,
continue.
and the other thing is the ease of use.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for me it's the easiest to use when it comes to the how sophisticated the sound is. It gives a very good sound, like it's on top of the class. So
Okay.
that's crucial. But it's the ease of use.
Okay.
Once you can use a touch phone, a touch screen
Yes.
device, you can
Yes.
you can use. And there's something I found out. You can never get missing in the live event when you're using SSL. There's
Wow.
always something to bring you back.
Back. Oh,
So
okay.
if you
Great.
feel that maybe you are navigating through the menus too deep, just there's something that will bring you back
Wow.
to where you want to be.
I can't wait
Yeah,
to
so
explore
you
it.
can never get missing with this when it comes to live sound, and
Okay.
it's all about speed.
Okay.
Live sound is
Okay.
all about speed.
Can you throw more lights?
So it's
to
all
that?
about speed. Example, if I need to patch
Okay.
an emergency channel,
Okay.
I can do it through, it has 2 inputs per channel. So
Okay.
I can do it through the input B.
Okay.
And whilst we're getting ready, when it's ready, I just long press and it's now runs
Wow.
through that same channel. So if you have 2 RTs, we can be playing around it.
Wow, that's
More
quite
like an
interesting. Looking at it from the perspective of having 2 separate bands.
Yeah.
And yeah, because typically you will need to be running the show whilst they also set up and ensure that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Wow.
So you can
Wow.
even take if one band takes about 40 inputs, that second band takes 30 inputs. I can make a command on the console that when we are done with this band,
Okay.
one button press
Okay.
activate all the input B of all
Wow.
these channels. So it's programmable.
Wow.
And it's English. It's not Python or CSS or something.
No, but
it's English.
this
So
is
can-
very handy
Yeah.
for concerts.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
when you have a stadium gig
Yeah.
and you have so many artists with different riders,
Yeah.
and you have to quickly patch
Yeah.
things. I think it's the most handy. But I want you to emphasize a bit more on for churches specifically.
For churches, it's growth.
Okay.
If you're looking for something that will last you a lifetime.
Yeah, we are talking
which I
about
would
40
say-
years.
Yeah, the technology alone is about 4 decades. It was designed
Yeah.
5, but we've already chewed about 8 to 10 years of this technology.
Wow.
So we have about 40 years more. So it's not something that you are going to feel you are back.
Okay.
You will always feel
Okay.
that you are on top of your game.
All right.
Yeah, and it's scalable. So you can start with a very simple system, 32 channels.
Okay.
As you grow, all you need to buy is stage boxes.
Wow.
And you just keep
Wow.
increasing. And
Okay.
this console is the only console on the market that speaks MADI and Dante simultaneously. So
At the same time.
yeah. So you have Dante
Wow.
stage boxes, you have MADI stage boxes. You can speak at the same time.
Oh,
if
nice.
you want to go longer distances, we even have
No,
interesting
this-
solutions. maybe 1
That's
kilometer
incredible.
from stage is where you are.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
there's something
yes.
called black light. It's proprietary. We can also
Wow.
take advantage of that.
Oh, okay. So
And
there are some proprietary software we are going to explore.
not software, but let me put it as interfaces.
Interfaces.
Yeah,
Okay.
so with a
Okay.
black light like
Okay.
this, we can send 256 channels in and out of the console using a fiber cable. And everything has redundancy on this console.
That is
So once
that is a lot.
yeah, so
That is a lot.
once one thing for some reason maybe
Okay.
somebody removes it by mistake, the other just takes over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without you having to select anything. It's
Yes.
just automatic.
Okay. Okay. And
So for a church setting, fine, it's an install, but the fact that you can keep growing is a
Okay.
big thing. And
All right.
ease of use, volunteers, churches, most churches rely
Use
on
volunteers,
volunteers
yeah.
for the success of their sound. So I think this is every volunteer's dream.
Yeah.
Come
You are
to think
mixing
of
on
it,
it. You are mixing on an SSL console.
yeah,
Yes.
this will
Yes.
be on your wish list anytime they ask you because
Okay.
of the sound quality
All
and
right.
the ease of use.
All right.
It's very easy to train someone on this. Within a day or two, you
Okay.
can do something
Okay.
like a rock star.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So it's the ease of use is also there, and for me, I'll always say the sound.
The sound.
I always say the sound.
Yeah. I mean, like we mentioned, a lot more churches are moving towards hiring their or renting out their spaces for events,
Yeah.
recordings, and
Makes
what
sense.
have you. If the engineer coming in doesn't need to pack his console to the place, knowing that he's going to be mixing on an SSL
Yeah.
straight into his recording and everything, I think it makes a lot of sense for churches that have the capacity to rent out
Perfect.
their churches for
Yeah.
recordings.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense to actually get one for these churches. So before we move straight into the console, I also want you to talk about how anybody can reach you. What is the process getting the SSL in their venues for any audio consultants? What do they need? Now SSL is in Ghana and you can directly contact. So I just want you to briefly talk about that.
All you need to get started is visit our website, www.avsghana.com.
Okay.
When you go to our website, you see the full catalog of what we have. You see our numbers there. You see our emails there. You can send us emails. You can send us WhatsApp. You can call us, and we would be available to start a conversation. So
Awesome.
a console like this, you don't sell it just upfront.
Okay.
The reason being that it's produced on demand. So it's not something sitting in 100 pieces in the headquarters of SSL for a number of reasons. Number one, it needs to fit what you want.
Okay.
Example, if I don't need something like an X Lite, which is a protocol here, there is no need for me to invest it because it's extra amount
cost,
of
yes,
cash.
definitely.
So it's what you want, the number of stage boxes you want,
True.
how we configure the whole system for you. So once you let us know that, we are able to design a system for you.
Okay.
And that would give idea of how billing is going to happen.
I hope it's free.
The consultation is free, yeah, definitely.
So
it's
that's
free.
a plus.
It's not part of the cost, it's free.
Yeah.
So you can feel free, get in touch and get to know a little more about SSL Live. And I'm sure the more you get to know about it, you realize that, Charlie, this is the best choice to make. Yeah.
And like you rightly pointed out, I think for a lot of Ghanaian organizations, especially who are into sound, the biggest headache is getting these equipments here, especially considering the fact that they need to buy and ship.
Yeah,
so
if these
things are here, I think is in the right step that you contact AVS Ghana. You can mention my name; they'll give you a discount. I don't know how much, but yes, but it's the right step is the step in the right direction that you contact them. And like you rightly mentioned, consultation is free. Just hit them up. They can always build a system for
if
you.
If you're buying an SSL, it's free.
But yes, if you're buying an SSL, yes.
Not just consultation.
Yes. So I think we will move straight into the board. I think everybody here wants to get to experience the board and also see what comes with the board. So We will just need a minute.
I think you didn't mention them.
Yeah.
So the other advantage of getting SSL from Audiovisual Systems is, number one, we are the authorized dealers when it comes to solid state logic here in Ghana. So anything you want, it's the advantage of that. The real advantage is technical support.
True.
So if you have an issue, you can disturb us, and we'll get it sorted for you.
True.
You don't have to feel like you are in the trouble alone.
Yeah.
Would actually go a long way to make sure it's sorted for you. And we can call headquarters and give them also some small reasons why they should react as soon as possible. And they are very responsive.
Okay.
Yeah, they are very responsive. SSL is very responsive. If we get a contact to them within the next minute or two, they just give us some good feedback.
That's a very wonderful relationship.
It's peace of mind. Yeah, you don't get a system and feel, I'm not going to hear from the one who designed it. You would always have the opportunity to. Okay. Yeah. So that's the catch for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, like you rightly mentioned, authorized sole dealers in Ghana, in West Africa, to be precise.
Yeah, this is actually the first 350 plus.
Yes, so this is, like we mentioned, this is the first 350 plus that's in Ghana and in West Africa. So we will dive straight into the board. We will be taking a look at the input and output routing. We will be looking at channel processing, and he will emphasize on the ease of use. We will also look at certain things that make the SSL what it is. We will also take a look at some things he actually did mention with regards to, I saw on the board there's something called a stem, which he will go into. But yes, we will look at why you need to buy it, and we will actually show you why you have to get this console for yourself. So just give us just a quick second, and we will be with you shortly.
Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of door playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features, like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a 3rd headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit, 192 kHz ADDA to capture every last detail in your creations. Before connecting your new interface, first set up or log into your account to register your SSL 12 at store.solidstatelogic.com/my-account. Once registered, you'll also then be able to access the included SSL production pack. You'll need to download the SSL 360 application on your computer, as this enables access to the SSL 12 software mixer, allowing control of all the parameters beyond the hardware interface. When downloaded, follow the installation process, then when installed, open the 360 application. Now it's time to connect and switch on your SSL 12. First, attach your new SSL 12 to your computer via the provided C-type USB cable. If your system uses the older USB A-type socket, we've included a handy adapter in the box. Once plugged in, switch on the interface via the power button on the rear of the unit next to the USB socket, and then the 12 should spring into life with a green LED to indicate a positive connection to the host computer. If using a Mac, the 12 interface is class compliant and no drivers are needed, so in the Preferences panel, simply set the input and output device as the SSL 12. On a Windows system, the latest USB ASIO/WDM drivers are required to set up your SSL 12 as your primary audio device. These can be updated and installed via 360, which we'll look at now. Back in 360, the SSL 12 should now be available on the home screen. If any updates are required, such as a firmware update, or on a Windows machine and the USB ASIO WDM drivers require updating, then these will appear in the home screen, with the firmware underneath the interface avatar and the USB drivers below the 360 logo. Simply double-click on the green button to initiate the download and automatically install the updates. You can also find the Windows drivers in the download section of the SSL website, as well as a 360 installer and USB audio driver installer for Windows. Now we've got the SSL 12 set up, let's quickly look at setting up some preferences if working on a Windows system before we look at the DAW. Let's first make sure the SSL 12 is set up as your primary audio device. Then let's go to the Sound tab via the control panel and select Monitor left and right as the primary outputs. Once selected, click Configure to open the Properties panel, where we're going to disable all audio enhancements to ensure the SSL 12 operates as expected across all audio applications. Next, let's look at setting these up with your DAW. You can of course use any DAW that supports core audio on a Mac or ASIO/WDM on a Windows system. But no matter which DAW you are using, you need to ensure that the SSL 12 is selected as your audio device in the Audio Preferences/Playback settings. Let's look at now setting this up in Pro Tools. First go to Setup, then Playback Engine, and then select SSL 12 from the drop-down menu. Similarly in Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of DAW playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a third headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending
So welcome back. Not to waste too much time, Caleb, I just want you to take us into the console. I'm seeing some kill. I'm seeing some stem. Charlie, just talk to me about the console.
All right. So, like I was saying, when you boot up the console, you see gray
Okay.
lines. So you see a
These
deep,
gray
yeah, you see a
lines.
deep gray,
Okay.
light gray alternating till the end of it.
So these are here because you've
we,
patched
we
some
actually
things.
put them inside there.
Okay.
So, if you take the console, the heart of the console is the console configuration.
Okay.
This is where you are going to build your customized console.
Oh,
so
okay.
in this
Okay.
section, you are going to list all your channels,
Okay.
just like the way you prepare your patch sheet.
All right.
So you're going
All
to
right.
label your kick in, kick out, snare top, snare
Awesome.
down. If it's a
Awesome.
mono channel, you give it a mono
Okay.
channel. So example,
right.
things like overheads, we create a stereo channel because it's left and right.
Oh, okay.
Percussion, we can do
So
mono.
the channel 12 is a stereo channel.
Yes, channel 12 is a stereo channel.
So the reason why I'm asking is because typically for stereo channels, it's a combination of two mono channels.
Yes, so that's it.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
12, but
All right.
when we are patching, we'll see overhead left, overhead right.
Right. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
what happens in the patch.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
you do your labeling, you choose your channel configuration,
All right.
mono, stereo.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
then you also close this up. You come to your stem. So a stem is a combination of what a subgroup
Oh,
is on
okay.
an analog
Okay.
console
Okay.
and an
Okay.
auxiliary. So the
Ah.
advantage is the auxiliary gives you the advantage of pushing in different amount of levels
Levels,
into
okay.
the bus.
Okay.
Then the subgroup is at unity gain.
Okay.
So I mean unity gain to
the
subgroup.
the
So
subgroup, okay.
if I'm pushing a fader at -6,
Okay.
I'm getting what the -6 is giving
It's
me
giving
on
you-
the subgroup. So this gives you the advantage to use the two together, and we call that stems.
Oh, okay.
So with the stems, I can actually take the stems to in-ear mixes. As a front of house engineer and mixing monitors, I can take, let's say, all the BVs, instead of taking them one by one.
Into the.
I can just take that one fader, boom, and you get all the BVs in the stem.
So let me try and break it down and understand. So I have my BV set of channels.
Let's say 16 BVs.
16 BVs,
Yeah.
and I've sent them into my my stem.
Yes.
And this stem is a combination of the auxes. Traditionally, I would
of
have
what an aux would have done
An
and
aux-
what a subgroup would have
Okay.
done. So
And
the
I can
subgroup is
send-
I can process on it,
Oh,
and I can take it to
okay.
left and right.
And not a matrix.
No, we are not even there yet.
Okay. All right.
Do you get
All
it?
right,
So
great.
I can process it as a subgroup and move it as
And move it. So you can
however
send
I
it to
want it.
any out you want.
any out. So you can take it to your main master,
Okay.
and you can also take it to your auxiliaries.
Okay. Does
So-
it come as a mono or a stereo?
So it depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
So example, when we came here, you saw that the stems also has some mono stereo configurations
yes,
you can
yes,
also do.
yes.
So it's open.
Oh,
if you want to even do
great.
it LCR or surround 5.1, you can do that.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. And all is hidden in
Wow.
a fader.
Wow.
All is hidden in a fader.
In a fader.
Yeah. So if
Awesome.
we have
Awesome.
two stereo, let's say two mono channels making a stereo, it's hidden in one fader. If you have surround 5.1, that's 6 channels you are chewing up.
It's
and
all
that's
in one
also
fader.
hidden in one fader. Do you get
Wow.
it? So that's
Wow.
the power of the stem.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it makes work fast because, example, if I want to push BVs into the an auxiliary for reverb,
Okay.
I can take that stem and push it
yes,
into the
and
reverb.
just put it there.
I'm saving. So if I'm doing that 16 times for my 16 BVs, I'm saving 15 of those times because just one fader, I get the same effect.
You get the same effect.
Yeah,
So I mean, we'll come to you patching that, and we will see it in real time.
Yeah.
So I just quickly want you to go through this overview.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, like I was saying, you can select your stems.
Okay.
The number of stems you want to do depend. And one thing about this console is, you can't. I will not expect you to have a console like this and walk into the event without planning. Yeah, it's just like shoot yourself in the foot. I can trust that you would find your way. It's fast and everything, but you would want to get every good thing out of it. So it's important to plan. You should have a patch sheet, detailed what you want to do, and label it. Once you label, it makes you very confident on it because the console is deep, and you also want to make sure that where you're going, you know where you're going.
Saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of stress. So I just push. Maybe I'm mixing front of house and monitors. I do that.
Okay.
I write the number of mono mixes I'm doing, stereo mixes, maybe in-ears, floor wedges. Here I've done 6 for the floor wedges.
Okay.
That's for pre-fader. Post fader stereo, I've done 9.
Awesome.
Then I've done post all 7 stereo.
7. Okay.
So you can use that for your effect and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Then also when we come to the masters, how many masters do you want? Currently, I've done 2 masters. So there's a master for broadcast, there's a master for left and right, depending on how you want to do it.
And all this is very unique to what kind of mix you want to send to those masters.
So I can do something like a mix minus when it comes to broadcast. So I can mix, and maybe what's happening in the house doesn't need to go out. That particular event. So we can mix it in the house, but we minus it in the broadcast. So broadcast still goes on, and we can have maybe something playing for broadcast. And we minus it in the house. The same console.
Great.
So you can do advanced stuff, and you can do very simple stuff.
The routing in my books is quite wow.
Wow. And you can create as many VCAs as you want. This one you can create 36 VCAs.
Wow.
Which is massive.
Massive. Yes.
This doesn't use the DCA. It uses the VCA. The VCA is what actually the DCA was trying to copy to get that kind of feature. So with this, it's a voltage control amplifier. This
call us. We explain VCA to you.
This affects the preamp directly to when you're sending it to anywhere.
All right.
So it does it in a unique way.
Awesome.
And so example, if I send a VCA I set a VCA to maybe these, let's say 4 channels here. And I raise that VCA, the amount of signal going into wherever it's going to, the stem or something, is affected. If you use it, interestingly, you can use to trigger things like a compressor to either compress more aggressively
when you send that
signal. Because if your threshold is fixed, you are going to have more signal, and it will cause the compressor to kick in very faster. So depends on how creative you want to get as a mix engineer, but you can really get deep with this.
This next level.
And you can actually let it behave like what you would think the DCA does. So you can choose to let it behave like an analog VCA or like a digital DCA.
That's awesome.
Those ones are for control stuff.
All right.
Then we also have matrices. The matrices, I think, this is very elaborate. The matrix is massive. So it has 4 groups of metrics. Each of the matrices can take 32 inputs, which is not part of the resources of the console. So the 4 matrices.
Can you emphasize that a bit more?
So example, if I take, let's say, matrix 1. Matrix 1, I can have maybe my main left, my main right. I can have even a lead vocal over there. I can have a talkback. And I decide that, you know something, matrix 1, output 1. Is going to be my main left and right speakers. So I now open the main left and right mixes into that. Right. So the first ones I mentioned were the input of 4. Then I now go to another one for the sub. I open what I want. Then I open another one for the musicians. They want to hear the talkbacks. So I put in a talkback and push it in an in-ear system.
This is
for them.
very, very, very intuitive. I mean, very quickly you can just patch.
Very flexible.
Anything.
And you can do that in a very short time. Once you know what you are going to do, you can actually do it.
And I mean, for a lot of musicians, that's always cry about in-ears. I mean, this is...
The big thing is we don't have channels. I'm an audio engineer, and when somebody says every band member needs in-ear, I just thought that you need one. The truth be told, I don't have channels. I'm always standing that actually you need one. You don't need it's because I don't have channels. I just don't have channels. But now that I have 32 on each metrics, I think I'll rather encourage them. Anytime I get opportunity to mix on this, because it makes them happier musicians. So anytime I get opportunity to mix on this on an event, I would definitely I'll be open to go. I mean, we took it on the road 2 weeks ago. When it came fresh, we wanted to test whether it can work with our weather. So our weather is pressure. So we had less than 30 minutes. And we did a full sound check in less than 30 minutes. The pressure was real. It was real, but the board didn't fold up. It delivered. And so I think we use that feature for the metrics. It works so well.
Straight.
So
everybody.
There were 5 people on talkbacks. I wanted to send it to one of their channels for the channels. So the metrics helped us to take all those 5. And I go to the preamp, I do the low cut, which is the most critical.
For them?
Again, how they like it. They hear it in their
This
ears.
is
And that doesn't affect the resources of the console.
wow.
Yeah, so you can
Wow.
see when the more you keep loading stuff, if it's affecting resources, it shows up
It shows
over
up.
here.
Okay.
So it shows you what
Okay.
resources you are
Okay.
using and how much
Okay.
is left.
Oh,
So you can use
great.
that to find your way out. Yeah. But when it comes to the metrics output, you have a total of 36 on this. 36. So it means you
Wow.
can take it like anywhere you want. 36, like 36.
Please count the number of times I said wow. Wow.
Yeah. Then one other big thing is the solo. The
Okay.
solo is huge over here. The
Okay.
solo is you can do your solo monitoring like we have here left, right?
Okay.
You can do it mono, you can do it surround 5.1, however you want to monitor. So
Wow.
let's say we are monitoring for, now we're having a lot of immersive stuff happening.
Yes. Yes.
Which is the next technology.
Yep.
So if we are still struggling with stereo, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
So this is future proof for that.
Yeah. Wow.
And
it's already catered for.
Yeah, I can make surround 5.1. Example,
Okay.
a typical example is Don Moine. If you listen to Don Moine on a surround 5.1,
It's different.
you will never listen to it on a stereo again.
Yeah,
you
tell me about it.
you can hear some toms falling at your back, other things. Then you hear
Yeah,
something in the middle, like
yeah,
it's so nice.
yeah,
It's not just left,
yeah.
right. Yeah, so if you listen to it,
Wow.
standard home
I
theaters
mean,
will have that. So
I just want us to quickly now explore what a channel typically looks like on the board,
sure.
and
So
try and route a few
something
things.
into it. That's
yes.
fine. So
and let's,
to do the selections, you first need to enable your edit.
Okay.
Once you enable your edit, you put in the number of channels you want to add.
Okay.
If you don't want to put in the channels, you can just hit on add new.
Okay.
So you choose what I want to add, a mono or a stereo.
Okay.
Once you choose that, it adds.
So
let's try one.
Okay.
So let's try a stereo channel.
Okay.
So it's empty. Then I'll name that NML.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
NML,
I'm stereo, you know.
yeah,
I'm
so
stereo.
so he's stereo. So and then I long press this. Once I long press this, it takes effect. I think
Okay.
you don't need to see what's happening on the
Okay.
screen.
All right.
Don't need to see what's happening on the screen.
Okay.
So we long press it, and you see the console is loading,
Yeah.
but the sound is still moving. We don't have a break in the sound.
Yes.
We don't have like bra, bra.
Wow. No, this
We can
is
still hear the
really
sound.
good.
Yeah.
This is really
And that
good.
is possible because of two computers sitting inside. So we have two
Oh,
computers.
great.
And these are server grade computers.
Okay.
We have the
Okay.
OCP and the FPP.
Oh yes, that
Yeah.
reminds me. We have to
Yeah.
talk about OCP.
Yeah, that's the optimal core
Core
processor.
processing,
That's the
yeah.
one in charge of the processing. So
Okay.
what we
Okay.
just did, we changed something on the FPP, which is the front
Okay.
panel
Okay.
processor, and
All right.
that doesn't affect your processing.
The processing.
So that makes it possible.
Both
Yeah.
servers typically run at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
One handling, should I say, another
Processing,
process?
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Great.
So there's some
Great.
good amount of
Great.
power sharing.
Great.
Unlike other consoles where you have one, if it's a big computer, one
Yes,
big
it
computer
holds everything.
doing everything, and
yeah.
when you're interacting with one, it affects how the other one
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. So currently we've created a channel. That's
Okay.
the input channel.
All right.
Let's create a stem so that we see how things
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Mike's out. Okay. Great.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think we are fine.
Yes, we are fine.
All right. So you go to the stems. Then
Okay.
let's add a mono. Let's add a stereo.
Okay.
So let's name the mono as mono.
Okay.
Then let's go to next. We don't need to go back. Just
Sure.
go to next. It takes you to where you
So,
need to name this one as stereo.
Okay. Great.
And that's it.
All right.
We have to long press to do that. Let's
So-
check if we want to do any other thing. I think those things will be there. We already have some masters created.
Yes,
So
already
we fold
created.
it
So
back.
then,
Yeah, we can use the same
we can
master.
use
So let's
those,
long
yeah.
press and
Sure.
yeah. So it would just reconfiguring the whole console, and
All right.
sound is not being affected. So this particular one, we have 216 paths. It can
Okay.
be either input or
So
output.
yeah, talk about a path. I think
Yeah,
a lot
so
of people might not.
A path is an input or an output.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be a processing path
Okay.
for channels like input,
Okay.
and it could be for output as well, or it could
Okay.
be for stems. So
Okay.
if I have a show that needs 64 input
Okay.
and 96 output,
You
I can
can.
use the same console.
Oh,
If I have a show that needs
great.
96 input, 64
Great.
output, I can use.
Great.
If I have a show
Great.
that needs 200 input, 16 output,
You
this
definitely
can do that
Wow.
without
Wow.
without
Wow.
issues. All you
Wow.
need to do is to add up your
To
I/O.
your racks.
Either it's MADI or Dante. Like I
Dante,
said,
yeah.
it speaks Dante and MADI simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah, so that makes it possible. So currently we've created our 2 channels. That's input
Okay.
channels. We've created our
Okay.
stem.
All right.
We have some auxiliaries here. We can take advantage
Stage
of
of,
them.
okay.
Then we also have the
masters.
Masters, yeah.
Okay.
We have the masters there.
All right.
Then after you create all these things, you are not done. You go to layer manager and you
Okay.
customize however you like it
All
to
right.
be customized. So where do we want to do? We want to talk with the channels we created.
Okay.
Let's see where they are. Let's check 1, 2, 3, 4.
So you can
We didn't check the number.
inspect
The
your
whole console.
channels.
So everywhere where there's a channel, it brings it out. So
Oh,
this is
great.
now more than the channel. So it
Okay.
goes to B. So let's look for it. We'll find it. That's it. So that's NMO
Ah.
that we created. It's a stereo channel.
Wow.
So what I'll do is, it has 6 layers.
Okay.
Each of the layers have banks,
Okay.
5 banks, making
Okay.
a total of 30
30.
times 12.
Okay, so then that's like 360.
Yeah, 360.
360,
So
yeah.
you can put 360 faders
Okay.
under one tile, and
All
this
right.
has 2 tiles. So that gives you 720. Yeah, so you can control 720 faders with this console. And even with the L100, the smallest of them, you can control 360 of that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can take a let's
So
take something new.
assuming this is one layer, it is in one bank.
Yes. So example, these are the layers. So I've
Okay.
taken a layer over here. I've named it a band.
Okay.
This has 5 banks. 1,
Okay.
2,
Okay. Okay.
3,
Okay.
4,
Okay.
5.
Ah, so you can
Then I go to
you can
vocals,
label you can
1,
label
2,
the
3.
bank
Perfect. You can label the bank. So there are
Great.
some scribble screens on it.
on it. Okay.
Whatever you type there,
All right.
you can
That's
type your
what's-
name over
okay.
there. It will show
Great.
up over there.
Great.
So let's take, currently we have 3 layers. Let's create a new layer for
All
the
right.
sake of
All
the
right.
demonstration.
Yes.
So
yes.
what we do is this the fader tile 2, this fader tile 1. So
Okay.
I take fader tile 2. These are empty. You can see user.
Okay.
And I've used a name. Let me use my name. My name is Caleb. So let me just use
All
Caleb.
right. Great.
So Caleb, then we are testing it. So I'll label the first bank as test. Right? I've not put anything so you don't see it show up here. So now I take the channel we created, just drop it anywhere I want. Once I drop it, I have it here. So you can see Caleb is now showing up here. So I go to Caleb, then I hit on the call for the test.
For the
Once I hit
test.
on it, it's up.
It appears.
And that's our new channel.
Oh,
There's
this
nothing
is
here.
good.
Everything. So we can move this out. We can move this. Just see that it moves. However,
And
we
it's
want
so
to-
intuitive.
Yeah, just like you are using the phone. So example, we want to select all these ones.
Okay.
I hold one here, just like you're doing shift on a computer.
Oh, okay.
Then you select the whole batch.
And it can just easily.
Yeah, that's it. You've done it yourself. So it's simple. You don't need magic.
next
hands.
level.
And let's say you made a mistake. You want to throw the whole thing away.
Okay.
You can do the same selection. Maybe this whole range. Please select it for me. Sorry? No, yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
great.
Then we put it in the bin. We can reconfigure it again the way we want it, and that's it.
Wow.
So once you do
this
that-
bank is in this layer.
It's in
Right.
this layer called Caleb.
Okay, Caleb.
When I go to band,
Band.
these are 5 banks in the
okay.
band layer.
Okay, great.
Go to vocals, the same
Then
thing, Lucas.
This
then-
makes mixing very easy in the context of the fact that they are in layers. You call a layer, you mix, you call a
Yeah.
layer, and you just
Yeah.
send. Is it possible to send a layer? A bank to, for example, the way you will typically mix on a DCA or on a VCA, you can send one bank. So, for example, maybe the band, you can send this particular band to a DCA or this comes a VCA, Is it possible?
Yeah, your question has different answers depending on how I want to understand it.
I know. I know.
So you can. I always say I've not found any situation that's impossible on this yet.
Okay.
Yes. And I've really looked inside, and the answer to that is yes, for now.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying it depends on how you want to send it. If you want to send
it
in terms of levels, you can do that through a feature called path link. So you can do the same thing for a number of selected stuff. And you can select for the whole bank.
I think that's what I was actually asking.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yes.
You can do that. Wow. Yeah. So once you do that, your channel is here, and you get deep into it. You just hit on the screen here. It takes you to that channel. So this is the channel we created. We double click, and we have what we were talking about. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
From EQ to input routing, you can literally see everything that's happening on the channel.
Everything. So we can give it some iconics. Iconics are like pictures that are on the console. Depending on what you like.
Keyboard.
You play keyboard?
Yes.
Okay, if you play a keyboard, then do your own sound. Yeah. All right, so select what you want.
Give me.
All right, okay, that's it. So
awesome.
You can change the color as well. Change the color to any color you want. Okay, so you've chosen red. All right, so that's it. You can also change the name over here. You can do all these things.
Okay.
And you can also, this is where you're going to do your patching into it.
Okay.
There are two ways, either to do it on the channel, or you do it in a spreadsheet form. Spreadsheet is more let's go deep into it. So if I go to my setup, I go to XY. You see, this gives you that.
Yes.
You have your input, your output.
Yes.
You can do that. Yes. That's one way of going about it.
Okay.
The other way is just to come to the channel itself.
Okay.
Then you choose, are you routing input A or B? Any of them we can do it. So let me just show you that. So we go to route input A. Currently our stage box has been set to stage box A. Then we now ask ourselves, which channel are we on? I think I am on channel 9 on the stage box.
Okay.
So we select 9.
Oh, okay.
So once we select the 9, can you see it has already told us that channel 12 and channel 19 are using this
that same
signal.
Oh, wow.
I can decide to clear it. When I clear it, you'll not hear me again. I have to repatch myself.
Okay.
But I can make this into it. So it's just like it's splitting of that signal.
That same signal.
So currently I've split it into two. So I now say, okay, you know something? Let me long press it and make it. That's it. So I'll make it. Yeah. And if you look at the board, we have things like some round things on the top right.
Okay.
So those things mean that you can long press for another feature.
Okay. So that's the meaning. Okay.
Yeah, I can unmake this and I can remake it. So currently I've made this, and you should be seeing some signal into left.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, there's some signal into left. If I decide to do this as well, so you see it gives me only the left.
Yes.
Because I didn't do something called make all.
What would that be?
Okay, let's long press to clear this.
To clear, okay.
So I've cleared this, right? So when I long press this, I can go to make and to make only the left.
Okay.
When I go to make all, to make the left, right, and any other thing in between.
Okay, so does it mean it's patching the same?
The stereo.
Okay.
So it's patching the stereo legs into their rightful places.
Okay, all right.
And that it does it when I choose, let's say, input 10. It will do 10 and 11. When I choose input 11, it should choose 11 and 12. But if I want to change it, I'll just make it 1. Then after I make it, you should be able to. So you should speak.
Yes.
So you're working. So if I decide that you know something, I am in 9. I need to come inside the other channel. I'll just use a spill. So kindly speak.
Hello.
Yeah. So we just hit on this, and we are going to make this. That is one way, but let's do that. So you see, I'm speaking. So we can now get a stereo. You can
get the stereo. So those two channels.
Perfect. So let me remove the spill feature, and let me unmake this. Right. So we unmake this, and that's it. So it's gone back.
Wow.
Let me now do the shortcut for you to see. When I hit on this, I long press this, I hit on make all. Kindly speak.
Hello?
So we can now see our signal here. So what would have taken us 2 minutes, we'll probably use 1 minute or less.
You just
the same thing.
the same make button.
Perfect.
Wow.
Perfect. So that's how to route an input inside.
That gives
When I
me
want
ideas.
a lot. So when I want to take this to, let's say, my main, I just have to
Okay.
hit on master. I take it to whatever main I want, then I select. On the board, you see some padlock.
Yes.
It's to protect you. So maybe you don't want to touch and mistakenly activate something.
Okay.
You can do this to lock it.
You can lock it.
So that you
Okay.
physically
Okay.
insert
All right.
it.
All right.
So you decide,
All right.
okay, let's unlock it. When I just hit on this, it works.
It just patches
so depending on how
automatically.
you want to work
Okay.
and how
All right.
you would like
All
to
right.
take things
All right.
far. So you can do that. So
All
we've
right.
taken it to the main left and right. We should have some signal to the right side of it. If you are listening, you should hear the right side a little louder.
Okay.
Yeah, you should. If it's you should hear the right side a little louder. When you speak,
Yes,
you should
yes.
be in the right.
Hello?
And I should be in the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on how you're listening to it.
Great.
Yeah. So this goes to the main left and right, and that's it. And we have also another beautiful feature called a query.
Okay, yes.
Query tells
I've
you
been seeing some queue
what this has
on
been
the
patched
board.
to.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I hit
Okay.
on query of the channel,
It
you
will
can see
show.
it's been patched to only the master.
Ah.
That's the only thing we've
So
done.
the query is to show you
Where it's going
where
to.
the signals are going.
So you can never get missing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
example, let me bring back the query and let me take it to, let me give it some few stems. So let me remove the lock. I'll put it in the drums, bass, electric guitar. Let
Okay.
me lock it back. Now let me query again. Let's see what it shows. It's showing us what? Drum, bass, electric guitar. It's showing us
okay.
where it's going.
Are these the banks? Are these
No,
the
these are
banks,
not the
or
banks.
these are
It's just pulling out
those?
wherever it's
Okay.
going to.
Okay.
Then we
Okay.
come back here. So you can never get missing with this. You can never get
No,
missing.
this is
Yeah, you can never get missing.
because the options are limitless.
Yeah. My
actually.
favorite feature is actually the spill and the path link. So example, let me go to one of the previously created stuff. So we have the drums like this. I probably
Okay.
like the mix of the drum.
Okay.
I want it to go up a bit. I don't want to do it from the group side. I want
Okay.
to do like a VCA style, but
Okay.
in my own way. So
Okay.
I decided, okay, I'm going to put my two hands on the faders and take it up. And I realized that when I do that, one goes more than
Yes,
one. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can use the path link. It's very
Okay.
simple. All you need to do is hit on path link, select what you want to be contributing to the path link, then make a move. What move do you want us to make?
Wow. So let's say we are bringing.
Okay, you want to do that. Okay,
great.
So you increase. So it's relatively increasing and decreasing depending
Decreasing.
on.
Oh,
so
okay.
relatively we are increasing.
And these sets of channels, when you create a path link, go to the same outputs that are
Wherever
that
they
are
and
going
however
already.
I've configured it.
Great.
I can decide to unmute. Everything will unmute. Just see one mute. Everything is on mute.
Wow.
So you right now we can do the same thing for everything.
Wow.
I want to bring everything back to 0. I long press on this to give me the advance of it, and I send all faders to 0. See what happens to the console now. Everything comes to 0.
Wow.
Yeah, something
Wow.
that everyone is craving for.
Yes.
It
Yes.
makes life simple.
Yes. Makes life so
Yeah.
simple.
I can also do my masters, take everything to 0. I can.
Wow. I can
as-
see the
as
options
far as
are.
they are limitless.
Wow.
I can set all my gain to a certain, the trim to 0. Probably you
No,
want to take it to 0.
I
so
think
you
you
can
need
get
to actually get into the board because the options are so many.
Yeah.
The
they
different
are
things
huge.
you can actually do with the board, and the outs actually really intrigue me.
Yeah.
Because of how you can literally move a certain number of channels dedicated somewhere, dedicated elsewhere, have different kind of signal processing for each of them. It's actually quite limitless. It's actually
Yeah,
quite
I think I didn't
limitless.
mention. So when we talk about input output, this one
Okay.
has up to 600 of that. What it means is that I can take 600 ports
Okay.
into the console, 600 ports
Out
out
of the console.
So I can take that 600, let's say 200 of them as my input, 200 as my output. So I have the 200, 200. I have 400 more.
Wow.
I can decide to multiply them by splitting them
Okay.
digitally, like what we did
All right.
for that.
Yes,
So that
for the-
alone, we've
yes,
taken 3 out
yes.
of the game because we sent it to
To 2,
to 19, 12,
12,
and to
and
that
yes,
channel.
yes.
So That's what you can do. So you can go in and out of the console 600 times. I'm sure by the time you reach 100 or 200, you probably will give up.
Yes, because I mean 600 channels. I don't know. Do we have any questions from online so that we can take a look? All right. So Caleb, quickly, now that we know how an input channel is patched, on the console, can we look at the various effects on maybe a particular channel? Or before that, let's look at the channel processing from EQs to compressors.
That's fine. So when it comes to,
since we have a mic already patched, I think we can take advantage.
Okay, that's fine. So when it comes to compression, I think that's one of the biggest catch.
Okay.
This compressor is very transparent, very, very transparent.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when it comes to the input, this is the preamp section.
Okay.
Where you can vary your gain and your trim. So your gain is your analog preamp.
Okay.
So the analog preamp itself is, I think we have a question online. Let's take that question.
All right.
All right.
Let me take the question.
Okay. Okay, so we want to demonstrate the assignment of an effect.
Assignment of an effect. Okay. Yep. Okay. That's. All right.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
We'll take that.
Sure.
So you can go back to.
Sure. So this is the preamp section of it, and we have the gain and the trim. So the gain is your analog preamp. So directly, this is what you use to control the gain, analog gain.
Yes.
Then the trim is what you do to either maybe you're fine with the saturation or whatever, use it to attenuate it or increase it. Yeah. And you also can change the status from mic to line. So that gives you an advantage, and it makes life more interesting when you're doing things like insert. So you don't have any distortion whatsoever because of the impedances we are looking at. And we also have the polarity switch, which will reverse it 180 degrees. So it's just taking positive, negative, swapping it. And to talk about what is the big brother of it is the all-pass filter. This takes it to the next level. So I can flip the phase actually using the phase is a combination of the polarity and the time. So I can actually do this for a frequency in the signal.
A particular frequency, that
maybe
particular signal.
120 hertz, I want to flip that. I can do that. And I can time align them perfectly. So the all-pass filter, currently, this is the only platform that has it. I don't know if any has come maybe yesterday or something.
No, because this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Even for a normal, not to talk about in terms of the frequency band, but even for the channel itself in terms of its polarity. I mean, this is next level.
Yeah, this is
next level.
This next level. Then we also have the balance, what you call as a panning.
Okay.
So we can take left, right. Yeah. There's even an interesting one. So you can take the pan itself. You can. So you see, this left and right. I can decide to swap left for right.
Okay.
By just moving it over. Then I'll now take left to right, right to left. You can do that, and you can do the standard pan. So it's a deep console. You can do that here too, depending on.
No, this
on
actually emphasizes the points we have been making with regards to bringing studio to life.
Yeah. This gives you the opportunity to do
this gives you the best opportunity to do very good stereo imaging. You know, so.
Okay, so let's talk about the
EQ. I think let's go to the EQ before we go
section.
To the effect.
We have the filter. So we just hit on this to activate your filter.
Okay.
You bring this up.
All right.
You bring this up. In case you want to work with buttons, you can still work with them.
All right.
So we have the high pass filter. We have the low pass filter, and this can do the same thing like doing the touch screen.
Great.
This can do the same thing.
For me especially, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so that's it. So you can do that.
And I'm seeing the EQ 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
I don't know if...
So let me go through that.
Please do.
If you don't want to use the touch screen, you can also select
what
EQ band you want to work. So if I hit on one, I have the gain, I have the quality, and I have the frequency. So I can, let's boost it. That's it
band.
for it. So you see this? I can change the quality with this, and I can change the frequency.
The frequency.
I can also change the type of filter.
The type
so
of filter.
currently it's
Okay.
on low shelf. I can
Low
change
shelf,
to the
yeah.
legacy, or I can change to constant Q.
Okay.
What you see usually is constant Q.
Great.
But legacy is
Great.
that one is proprietary to
Yeah.
SSL. So we can take this and we can increase. We can move frequency.
This reminds me
so we
so
can
much
cut it down.
about,
So it's just like you're using an analog
yes,
console.
Yes.
You have buttons you
Yes.
can use. But
Wow.
when you use it for a while, you realize that the screen is super sweet to easily get. You can just pinch it and you are controlling things like in real time. It's very very cool.
This is good.
It's very cool.
This
so
is
you can also
good.
reset this. When you see the long press, remember, it means something is under the hood.
Yeah.
So example, if I had taken this somewhere here, I've done this, I've done that, I can long press this EQ and reset it, and it just goes back.
And it goes back to...
I want to reset my filter, let's long press it and reset it.
And
you don't have to think too much.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Everything is just under your fingertips.
And this is just for that particular channel. You can, I guess you can, if you can do this, you can copy and paste definitely.
Oh yeah, copy paste
Yes,
is it's something that it's quite easy to do on there. So let me take an example for you. So this is a session we had yesterday.
Okay.
So this is the EQ for this. So now let's say I want to copy this onto the piano. So we take this and we take this and we hit on copy.
All right.
Once we hit on copy, I choose where do I want to paste it. I want to paste it here.
All right.
Then I want to paste what? The EQ.
The EQ.
Then I long press this, applies, I go back. I'm here.
And it's there.
So you can see the EQ has taken effect. But can you see the filter didn't?
Yes.
So I can decide that, okay, let me come here. Let me hit on the copy and let me add the filter.
Okay. So
then I paste
the various options.
You can choose what you want to copy from that channel.
Okay.
So now let's go back. We are looking the same now.
Wow.
However you want to do that, you can do
this
that.
Is good.
Yeah, so that's the compression, which I always say is best in class. It sounds amazing.
When it comes to compression and SSL.
When it comes to compression, everyone knows. So the truth about it is, the bus compression style was brought by SSL back in the days.
Oh,
now they've even designed something new called the Bus Plus.
The Bus Plus,
that takes it like a notch higher.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think let's just try and answer.
So let's do the effects stuff. So example, let's say I want to put an effect on this channel.
All right.
So let's take the channel we created. So we've taken this channel.
Okay.
I want to insert onto this channel.
All right.
So I have a number. You can do 48 effects on this.
Wow.
So 48 effects would mean that we can load 48 stuff. Right.
Wow.
We can load 48 effects. And currently we try to overload it to do 47. So I think we have one more space. So let's take this and let's load. This is a stereo channel. Okay, it's a stereo channel. Let me just remove something over here.
And these are all proprietary to SSL.
So like you say, plugin. This is it.
All right.
So let's take a stereo plugin. Maybe we can take something about dynamic. I think it would be nice to load it on what we are talking through.
Yeah, I think it will.
So that we can
hear
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so let me just take this. Let me bring it on screen. You can never get missing.
Yep.
So I've labeled it base DI. It's the same line, but
all right.
That's what you're going to insert. So I take the insert, and I choose the first question I ask myself: what do I want to insert onto it? So I can go to the effect and maybe load something. Let's say I think it will be very clear to load a reverb.
A reverb, yeah.
Yes.
Reverb
So let's go to reverb and let's take this as an example. So this reverb.
All right.
And we now we go back here, then we go to the insert, then we send here.
Wow.
So we are now going to insert
it into the channel.
Then this is written at the channel side of it. So now we choose what channel is this. This is channel 19.
Yeah, the base DI.
Yeah, you can see it's written by it, and you can even see it on it. So we hit on this, and we're going to go to insert A.
All right.
there's already something happening
on
there.
that particular channel.
I would have to go and check on that and no, that's the insert. So this is the input. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is the
So
insert.
yeah,
So
the
we
insert
make
return.
it, and after you make it, this is the return, taking it
Back
into
to
the
the
effect. Now we want
Okay.
it to come back to the channel, then we can hear it.
Okay.
Right. So I can long press it to automatically do that.
To do
the
that,
channel.
okay.
So when I long press it, then it gives me, okay, it says no because it has to be done at the effect side. So
Okay.
it tells you what it says, no auto route.
Okay.
It means we have to go and look for where
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's just hit on the return. Okay, I think it's been done.
Okay. So
Right?
insert send
Yeah.
A.
So let's
Okay.
let's see how it goes. So let me just make sure that. Oh, sorry. I think I hit. I'm inserting an effect. I should have gone to effect. So effect rack.
Effect rack.
Then
Okay.
this was effect rack. Did you remember the number?
Yes, the
This is
reverb.
reverb.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Reverb.
it. Sorry. So that's it. Then let me hit on this. Okay, still saying no. So it means I would have to route my return. Okay. So return, I'll take it from my effects rack. It's a reverb, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let me clear insert A. Insert C. So you
Awesome.
get a reverb, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
So we now inserted, and one beautiful thing is when you insert
Okay.
onto the channel, it shows up on the channel. So I don't need to go to the
Okay.
effects.
Okay. Before you can, it shows up in the channel. You can tweak
Perfect.
from here.
Perfect.
All right.
So I can just remove it, and we are back to where we are.
Wow.
So we can
Wow.
decide to do whatever changes we want to do.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll be good. Is there any other question?
I think somebody wants to know if we have matrices on the board and how many. I think we spoke about it.
Yeah, but we can
Yeah.
repeat it.
Yes. So yeah.
we have 4 groups of matrices. So over here, you can see 4 groups. We have matrix A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
Each of them can take 32 inputs.
Okay.
You can configure them
The way you want it.
Yeah, but the total of them can take up to 24 outputs.
All right.
Depending on the console you are. So the higher you go in the series, the more outputs you have. But when it comes to the input, we have 32 inputs on each of them.
On each of them,
that gives you 128. And that doesn't chew into your 216 inputs.
And you are still getting the same kind of processing across board.
Yeah. So the processing happens not on the input of the matrix.
Okay.
It happens on the output of the matrix. Yeah, and usually that's what you use matrices for.
Yes,
to
definitely.
Send across.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
that's
wow.
it.
Wow.
Yeah. Is there any other question?
No, we don't have any questions for now. I want us to explore more on the outputs and what you can do with regards to outputs channel output processing. If we can just take something from.
Okay, so let's say I select this matrix.
Okay.
I go here. I remember I can do my EQ on it as well.
Okay.
And with the matrix, we don't have the compression on it.
Okay.
So it's just the EQ. You also have the delay stuff.
Okay.
But you can insert a compressor onto it for
every single matrix you have.
Yes.
Because I know some consoles limit the number of inserts you can put on a matrix.
This is 2 inserts, either matrix, stem, auxes, input. You can do up to 2 of that.
Is it post effect on the channel?
You can do
pre-channel.
So when you hit here, you realize all these things are locked.
Yes.
This is also locked. But when I remove this, it's still locked.
Yes.
Because when I change the arrangement, maybe I want to bring a compressor at the beginning of the signal chain. I would have to mute that channel. Once I mute it, it opens up. The reason is for protection, so you don't mistakenly change it. It sounds awkward to people. So you realize that when I mute it, you realize it will unlock. So just look at it. It's unlocked.
Wow.
So now I can take, let's say, my insert A. Let us start the chain before my filter. Then I say, okay, you know something, insert B. Let it
before
go
EQ.
After. And this is your fader. So you can do your pre-fader yourself.
Wow.
However you like it. You can unmute it back as
well.
locked.
So I'm guessing this is post-fader.
Yeah, so anything after this is post
fader.
fader.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Wow.
Everything is post fader after this. If I decide that okay, my post fader, I'm probably going to change how it's going to be. I'll take the post fader somewhere like here. It will also affect.
Wow. I think somebody asked a very interesting question.
Great.
About how do you route your FOH into a matrix?
All right. So how to route your FOH into a matrix? Example, we've created matrices here, but we can go through that again.
Yes.
So we go to the matrix side of things.
Okay.
Depending on how you want to run your system.
Okay.
For me, I'm a bit old school when it comes to that. So I run it as a mixing console.
Okay.
When I say mixing console, when you are mixing a DAW, you're mixing your left and right.
Yes.
So that's how I run.
So let's look at a scenario. Let's look at a scenario where you have your left tops, your right tops. You have your left mids, your right mids.
Yeah.
You have your lows, left, right, center, and maybe you have some overflows, and you want to route.
Yeah, you can do that.
You
can do that. So on the SSL, the horizontals will be our input.
Okay.
So if you look at this, we've routed the front of house left, front of house right. That's the main mix. Onto these two.
All right.
So example, if I want to put something here, I just have to hit on routing. Once I hit that, I choose what do I put over there. Do I put this mic there?
Okay.
Do I put a mix there? Whatever.
Oh, so you are not limited.
You can put a microphone there. You can put an aux there.
Okay, so let's answer his question. Let's put an FOH mix there.
So that we've done it already, but let's take it again.
All right.
So the FOH mix, we're going to now take. FOH mix is how do you call it? It's a path.
Would it be a master?
Yes, a path from the master.
From the master.
So it's we have to look at it that way. We have path and IO. So this is the path side of it. So this is where the mix is.
Okay.
Then I now select output 1.
Okay.
Then I hit on what?
The left.
When I hit on left, I do a make. So it shows up here.
Oh, that.
Once it shows up here, I can now decide to increase. So look at this. I can increase this. Then I select input. It means I put more of the main left and right, main left side of it, into FOH left. I can remove it, and I can put that same one into the sub.
Wow.
And it goes inside.
Wow. So assuming your signal is coming hot, you without even. So let's say you've done some processing on that particular matrix. You've cut your tops or your highs.
Yeah.
Once you send the signal through, it goes through.
Yeah.
And it does the processing for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe I also want to send it to broadcast. I can select it. You can hit on it as well. Then maybe type 0. It takes the signal to 0. So it's endless.
Wow.
The possibilities are a lot.
Wow.
Do you have any other question? If not,
no.
So
I think I mean there are so many things we can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Like
this
for hours
console.
Because this is a very deep console.
Yeah.
But is there a way if somebody wants to try this out? The person can, come by the AVS office.
Yeah.
And
so this on showcase.
This on showcase.
At the AVS office booth.
All right.
And it's at Wager White Cross. So Wager White Cross, you come to AVS. Like I said, you visit us on www.avsghana.com, and that's where you're going to see a lot of our portfolios, our articles.
Yes.
So when you visit avsghana.com, you see our WhatsApp. You can send us a WhatsApp. You can call us, and you can also send us an email.
There's a 15% discount.
Yeah, on this fair. So
so just come through. Yes, you can activate the 15% on your console.
That's big savings.
Yes.
There's big savings. So we have this on display in our showroom, and it's available for a demo. You just need to call us. We organize a demo for you, and we talk about how we can make it happen. Yeah. It's
so
available.
any last words you have for Somebody says I will have to come to the office. That's interesting.
We have a lot of fun over there. So
yeah.
you can come. So we have some fun with.
So any last words before we wrap it up?
So the last word, do well to pass by tomorrow. The console is still on demo at the Sound and Lights Fair. Kindly do well to pass by. It's not too late, you can pass by. We are having a drum jam in the background. Tomorrow, this console is going to be on display. When I say display, it's going to mix the worship.
It's going to do the work. It's going to do the work.
Kindly look forward to see it happening. So try and pass by tomorrow. We are still having big discounts. People are taking advantage of discounts. We have things from Radial. We have things from Solid State Logic, Sontronics. We have from Koenig & Meyer. We have from Holy Land. We have from Sennheiser. We have from Los Cabos. We have from Attack. We have from Van Damme. We have from Amphenol. We have from wide ranges of products. So kindly do auto pass. And we have Audio Focus. That's also one of our big highlights.
Audio Focus.
It's one of the speakers that
you should hear them.
You can't get tired of hearing them. They always have this fresh sound to them. And we hope to see you today, tomorrow. And give us a call.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. If you have any inquiries, like you mentioned, visit the website www.avsghana.com. Thank you so much. I am your host, Enemela Sean. We will see you soon. Hopefully, you'll be here tomorrow to enjoy the full capability of the SSL L350 Live. Thank you so much and have a good night.
Luke here from Solid State Logic, introducing you to the SSL 12, a brand new audio interface combining over 40 years of audio expertise into a compact 12-in, 8-out centerpiece for your studio. On board the SSL 12 are 4 preamps with huge gain range, each with a powerful 4K legacy switch, bringing vibe and colour to the input signal, inspired directly from the legendary 4000 series console. Each channel strip also includes phantom power, high-pass filters and switchable line inputs, with 2 high-impedance inputs on the front for directly connecting instruments such as guitars, basses or vintage keyboards without the need for additional equipment. The SSL 12 features 2 professional-grade headphone outputs with plenty of power and switchable options for high-impedance or high-sensitivity headphones and IEMs, ADAT input for an additional 8 channels and 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out ports on the rear. The headphone mixes and all input and output routing can be set up via SSL 360's application for critical low latency monitoring tasks via the SSL 12 Mixer tab, where the simple interface options are expanded to allow control of 8 inputs via ADAT, control of door playback channels with loopback functionality, and a host of additional and customizable features like the 3 assignable switches on the front panel to extend the 12's capabilities as your creativity grows. As well as 2 sets of headphone outputs, the SSL 12 also features 2 pairs of balanced outputs, 1 pair to use with your main outputs and the ability to use the second pair for alternative monitor speakers or to use as general purpose line outputs, perfect for feeding a third headphone mix, reamping instruments or even sending CV voltage to control modular synths and effects. With the 12 we've gone even further and also included a built-in talkback mic, routable to the headphones via 360. Perfect for multi-artist sessions where communication is vital to capture the perfect take. All of this and the SSL 12 can be powered directly from your USB connection, maintaining the flexibility to work on the move, all whilst operating up to 32-bit, 192 kHz ADDA to capture every last detail in your creations. Before connecting your new interface, first set up or log into your account to register your SSL 12 at store.solidstatelogic.com/my-account. Once registered, you'll also then be able to access the included SSL production pack. You'll need to download the SSL 360 application on your computer, as this enables access to the SSL 12 software mixer, allowing control of all the parameters beyond the hardware interface. When downloaded, follow the installation process, then when installed, open the 360 application. Now it's time to connect and switch on your SSL 12. First, attach your new SSL 12 to your computer via the provided C-type USB cable. If your system uses the older USB A-type socket, we've included a handy adapter in the box. Once plugged in, switch on the interface via the power button on the rear of the unit next to the USB socket, and then the 12 should spring into life with a green LED to indicate a positive connection to the host computer. If using a Mac, the 12 interface is class compliant and no drivers are needed, so in the Preferences panel, simply set the input and output device as the SSL 12. On a Windows system, the latest USB ASIO/WDM drivers are required to set up your SSL 12 as your primary audio device. These can be updated and installed via 360, which we'll look at now. Back in 360, the SSL 12 should now be available on the home screen. If any updates are required, such as a firmware update, or on a Windows machine and the USB ASIO WDM drivers require updating, then these will appear in the home screen, with the firmware underneath the interface avatar and the USB drivers below the 360 logo. Simply double-click on the green button to initiate the download and automatically install the updates. You can also find the Windows drivers in the download section of the SSL website, as well as a 360 installer and USB audio driver installer for Windows. Now we've got the SSL 12 set up, let's quickly look at setting up some preferences if working on a Windows system before we look at the DAW. Let's first make sure the SSL 12 is set up as your primary audio device. Then let's go to the Sound tab via the Control panel and select Monitor left and right as the primary outputs. Once selected, click Configure to open the Properties panel, where we're going to disable all audio enhancements to ensure the SSL 12 operates as expected across all audio applications. Next, let's look at setting these up with your DAW. You can of course use any DAW that supports core audio on a Mac or ASIO/WDM on a Windows system. But no matter which DAW you are using, you need to ensure that the SSL 12 is selected as your audio device in the Audio Preferences/Playback settings. Let's look at now setting this up in Pro Tools. First go to Setup, then Playback Engine, and then select SSL 12 from the drop-down menu. Similarly, in Live, head to the Preferences tab, then select the correct driver type, which in this case for Mac is Core Audio, then select the SSL 12 for both the audio input and output devices. After this, in the channel configuration, highlight all the mono and stereo channels you wish to use for both inputs and outputs to allow them to be selectable from the channel path. In the next video, we'll look at the 360 app and the integration with the SSL 12 mixer tab, as well as looking at a few examples of routing different scenarios.